Welcome to the second module of our course in behavioral economics. Today we're going to be talking about understanding economics as a model with assumptions. This is something that's very important to do in order to talk about behavioral economics, because behavioral economics is almost a reaction or an improvement to neoclassical economics. And before we can go much deeper in this multi-part course, we do need to understand what it is that we're talking about. So today we're focusing on the relationship between neoclassical economics and its tools and predictions, and at the same time how behavioral economics is going to work with those assumptions. So what we've got for today's session, the bulk of it is going to be talking about neoclassical economic theory. This is what you probably learned in college with supply and demand, but what I suspect they didn't make enough emphasis on at the time is the simplifying assumptions underneath it. That if they told you this is how the way the world works, they did you a disservice. It's not that what they told you is wrong, but what you were told was a simplification. And in order to encounter the real world productively, you need to know and keep track of what those simplifications are. That's how we're going to be talking about neoclassical economics. We're also going to talk about something that you might not have been exposed to the term before, managerial economics, but you've probably been introduced to some of the concepts. What's interesting about managerial economics is, like neoclassical, it makes some simplifying assumptions, but it does it specifically in the purpose of helping us have tools that we can make decisions with. So in a sense, it is the follow-up to neoclassical economics. Having laid out those two elements of neoclassical economic theory and then managerial economics, then we can step back and see what are the assumptions that we're working with in each of these three domains. So that's what we're going to be talking about for the next 50 or 60 minutes. And I hope that you can see how this is all coming together to give you an insight into what we're talking about when we talk about behavioral economics. Just to review who we are today, I'm assuming most of you have already watched the first module, but for those of you just coming in now, quick introduction. I'm David McIntosh. I am a management consultant and a former futurist, and at one point studied economics, and more recently have been working as an educator, both in the corporate world and with a couple of courses at Harvard. So that's my background. Let me get my colleague, John, to introduce himself.
I'm the sort of guest neoclassical economist for this module. Like David, I've got a background in strategy consulting, as well as executive education, and some time in the corporate world. For a while, I ran the corporate university of a large technology company. Like David, I studied economics, both as an undergraduate as well as graduate studies in both economics and business. And currently teach both behavioral economics and business strategy through Harvard Extension.